You're out on the trail with your Polaris RZR, and the last thing you want is a tinny, half-hearted soundtrack that makes you wish you'd just taken the radio with you. What you really need is a speaker system that's reliable enough to survive a day of mud, water splashes, and hard rock hits, but also simple enough that you don't spend 3 afternoons wiring it together. The fear of buying a big box set that looks great on the spec sheet but ends up rotting in the dash is real, and the cost of a bad fit can be more than just money. It's wasted time, a quieter ride, and the headache of having to replace it again. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through why the 2025 Polaris RZR Pro speaker kit from SSV Works might be the answer to that worry, and when it's probably not worth the hassle. First off, the whole idea behind this kit is plug and play. The manufacturers designed the speakers, tweeters, and the 10-inch ported subwoofer to bolt straight into the factory mounting points that Polaris leaves open for audio upgrades. In practice, that means you don't need a separate drill or a custom bracket. You line the brackets up, clip the wiring harness, and you're done. For anyone who's spent a weekend wrestling with crimped connectors and mismatched wire gauges, that simplicity is a huge win. It also cuts down on the risk of a loose connection that could short out when you hit a splashy creek or a dusty washout. Now, the real test for any UTV sound system is how it holds up when you're actually using it. I've seen a lot of high-watt claims that sound impressive until the speakers are drenched after a rainstorm. The Pro Kit is rated waterproof, and owners on the Polaris forums report that the grills stay sealed even after hours of riding through shallow rivers. The subwoofer is ported, which gives it a deeper thump without needing a massive enclosure. In everyday use, think cruising a forest trail at 30 miles per hour with a playlist of rock anthems. You'll notice a clear separation between mids and highs, and the bass is present enough to feel the beat without overwhelming the natural sounds of the trail. It's not a concert hall experience, but it's a solid upgrade over the stock system that often sounds like it's coming from a tin can. One practical advantage that shows up after a few rides is the way the system handles power. The kit is designed for the RZR's existing electrical system, pulling roughly 150 watts under normal volume levels. You won't need to upgrade your battery or add an auxiliary alternator, which is a common hidden cost with some aftermarket audio solutions. That also means you won't notice a dip in your lights or winch performance, something that can be a deal breaker for people who rely on every ounce of power for work or emergency scenarios. That said, there are a couple of trade-offs to be aware of. The subwoofer, while ported, does need enough space under the seat to perform optimally. If you have a heavily customized RZR with a low-profile seat or a full suspension kit that shifts components around, you might find the sub's enclosure rubbing against other parts during a big bump. In those cases, you either have to relocate the sub or settle for slightly less bass punch. Another point is the overall volume ceiling. The system pushes 1400 watts on paper, but because it's tied into the factory wiring, you'll hit a practical limit around the mid to high 70 dB range before the amp starts to clip. If you're looking for a stadium-level blast that can drown out a roaring engine on a high-speed desert run, you'll probably need a separate, purpose-built amp and larger enclosure. Who should consider this upgrade? If you're a weekend rider who enjoys a decent soundtrack while tackling mud trails, and you value a clean installation that won't void your warranty, this kit checks a lot of boxes. It's also a good fit for owners who have already invested in a decent set of tires, a lift, and maybe a winch. Basically anyone who treats their RZR as a recreation vehicle and wants the audio experience to match. The fact that it's factory finished means it blends aesthetically with the rest of the dash, keeping that sleek look that many owners care about. On the flip side, skip it if you're running a heavily modified rig where every cubic inch under the seat is already claimed, or if you need a high-output system for large group outings where you'll be blasting music at full tilt for hours. In those scenarios, the limited space for the sub and the capped volume could become frustrating. Also, if you're the type who likes to tinker with wiring, add separate amplifiers, or integrate a full-blown car audio setup, the plug-and-play nature of this kit might feel restrictive. You'll still be able to upgrade further, but you'll have to undo the factory-fit brackets, which defeats part of the convenience the kit promises. Overall, the 2025 Polaris RZR Pro speaker